Hi everybody. We are going to spend just a couple minutes talking about our personal analysis tool. So our final paper is done. You turned it in. I'm in the middle of grading, and you should just feel like that big huge burden is right off your chest. You guys did great work this semester so far. I know it's a challenging class, but you have stuck with it. And now we're on our last assignment. And with this assignment, you can be as creative as you want to be. Alright, this is our personal analysis essay 2, and it's essentially an extension of that personal analysis that we did at the start of class all those weeks ago. So I do encourage you to revisit your personal analysis essay 1. If you don't have a copy of it anymore, let me know. I'll be happy to send it to you. And we're going to kind of explore our journey through this entire wonderful, challenging, complex trip that we have taken to get to that final paper. A couple of the nitty-gritty before we really kind of dive into how we can approach this assignment. We want it to be 3 to 4 or more pages. After all of that writing that you've done, 3 pages is going to be a breeze. We want it to be typed, double-spaced, you know that drill. It does not have to be in your documentation style that you rate your final paper on, but you can, if you want, to keep getting that practice. Feel free to use first person, I feel, I think. This is personal reflection, so go ahead and use I, all that you want. Outside sources are not required. However, if you do use outside sources, including your big paper, you do need to use citations. But again, you don't have to use outside sources. We do want to relate this discussion to at least 2 of our overarching course goals, and these are presented in the syllabus for review, or you and I can talk about it if you want in more detail. So there's a couple different ways for us to kind of approach this. Alright, and again, our course goals are listed at the bottom as well, but you know, if you have any questions, we can talk about it. You can be as creative as you like with this assignment. You know at this point that poetry is not necessarily my favorite art form, but go ahead, write me a poem if you want, as long as you hit at least 2 of our overarching course goals and talk about your journey. You can write me a poem if you want. I've had several students do that as kind of a, I know you don't like poetry, you just made me write this big terrible paper, here you go. And it's all in good fun, so you can go ahead and write a poem if you want. I did have one student who was a big D&D, Dungeons and Dragons player, and she actually wrote me a campaign for her final paper, and that the big paper was that dragon that we were going after to slay. So you can be as creative as you want to be. You don't have to be creative if you don't want to be. You just did an immense paper, and if you're all like ready to be done, just give me your 3 pages and call it good. It's your call. You can write however you want. I do encourage you to pick one of the following options, but again, you can be as creative as you like to be, but we do need to have 3 pages of content that you have written. Option 1 is probably the most popular. It's the end of the semester, everyone's ready to be done. Do not hesitate to write a regular traditional strengths and weaknesses analysis paper if that's what you're feeling. We want to discuss how our strengths and weaknesses have changed over the progression of writing this big paper that we did. What has changed, what has improved, do you have the same strengths and weaknesses, and what will you take from this experience? So that's the going traditional option. Another option is what we call mountains out of molehills. And essentially, I want, with this option, what you can do is explore something that scared you, that was absolutely terrifying that first day of class, that first time that you realized that you're going to have to write 20 pages. What was that big, immense mountain that you had to climb this semester? And was it as bad as you thought? Maybe it was. Maybe it was terrible. Explore the challenges that you saw as insurmountable. Maybe it was the reading, maybe it was the writing, maybe it was all that research. And then explain how you overcame it. How did you feel struggling with it? How did you cope with the rigors of it? And how ultimately did you overcome it and were able to continue with that writing process? Discuss too how you feel about that challenge now. And remember, we do want to tie each of these into our course goals, at least 2 of them. And a third option, which is also very popular, is a narrative exploration. And this is where you can get a little bit more creative. Write that poem, write that D&D campaign, or write me a stream of conscious rant about how much you hated this class. It's totally okay. explore any of the feelings, any of the experiences, the challenges, the successes that you have had in this course. And feel free to be as candid as you want. Talking about the writing process as it pertains to this big paper. Rant away, get as creative as you like, but let's strive to kind of fit with those grammar and English concepts that we have learned. But again, it's your rhetorical choice. You can write whatever you want, however you want. Just explain to me the journey that you have taken and how you feel about it now in relation to at least 2 of our course goals. And again, these are our course goals. It can be as easy as picking how to annotate your text and how to use specific databases. Whatever 2 course goals that you want to explore and tie into your journey, and you can certainly touch on more than 2. And that's it. That's our last paper. You can use it as an opportunity to get some of that creative expression out, or you can just do a regular strengths and weakness paper. And then our nitty-gritty grading, is there at least 3 pages of text? And did you touch on at least 2 of our course goals? And did you at least try to be, grammatically correct, but, it's creative writing. Use your rhetorical choices. If you have any questions on this, feel free to connect with me anytime. And of course, you can post any questions that you have on that general discussion forum that we have. This is the last one. You guys did amazing this semester. Let's talk about it. Submit this and you will be all done. Yay!